Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. And we have a very special episode for you guys today because it is our Thanksgiving episode. So thank you very much for spending your Wednesday Survivor night / Thanksgiving Eve with us. Hopefully you pull all the family in. You guys just got done watching Survivor, having your pre-Thanksgiving dinner. Hopefully you're like, hey, come check out this podcast that we love, the Survivor Now podcast. They are doing some great stuff. Before I get to who is joining us tonight, we do have a special guest. She hasn't been joining us in a minute. We'll get to that. I will say, quick housekeeping. The Survivor UK stream that was supposed to happen today had to get postponed because of me. Yeah, I had some last minute work to do, still in my work clothes. So that has been pushed back to tomorrow morning. So if, before the parade starts, wake up, spend it with us. I think it's actually already have started, or it will have started. But we're going to be recording 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, myself and Ollie. We will break down this weekend of Survivor UK. So make sure to tune in for that. Now let's get to Survivor 45, because that's why we are here. So tonight I am joined by two amazing guests. Not guest at this point. Abraham, you join me every week. Abraham, happy Thanksgiving to you. How are you doing?
Happy Thanksgiving, man. I'm enjoying myself. The family is all around the house doing some other stuff. I got some turkeys I got to prepare later on tonight so I can get ready for tomorrow. Deep frying. I got to give you credit on the swag, man. I mean, you got the Top Golf swag on. They need to put you on a commercial, but I'm just going to throw that out there.
Thank you. I'm doing free advertisement for my job right now. And this person can be referred to as a guest because she usually doesn't join us on Wednesday nights. You can check her out on Saturdays on Survivor Social. Everybody knows her. Everybody loves her. Tegwith is joining us tonight. Last minute, I literally reached out to you like 30 minutes before the podcast. I'm like, are you doing anything? You want to hop on? Happy Thanksgiving, Tegwith. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm still reeling from last week's episode, last week in general. But I'm super excited to talk about this episode with you guys. I'm super excited to celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow. It's so many things happening, which makes me incredibly happy.
So many good things are happening. And I'm so jealous. I was away last week. I took a vacation and I didn't get to speak on last week's episode. And I was devastated. I'll just say that right now. I was absolutely devastated that Kelly went home. And Tegwith, this is a funny thing. We share this because we both chose Caleb to be our winner pick. And then I saw a TikTok. If you guys aren't following Tegwith on TikTok, go follow her at Survivor Simulation. And she does incredible stuff. She is literally the queen. I'm telling you right now. But you had Kelly, correct me if I'm not mistaken, you had Kelly as your new winner pick. I also was telling people that Kelly, I think, is going to win the whole competition. And we.
What is Randy doing over there? In the meantime.
Wait, but Randy and I did know. That's completely correct, Randy. I had Caleb as my winner pick, as did Randy, as a lot of us know. And then when Caleb got voted out, I was like, okay, Kelly it is. It's got to be Kelly. She's taking this whole thing home. And I was completely blindsided. No one was more blindsided than I was by last week's episode. Definitely not Kelly. Luckily, my winner pick did not get voted out. My new winner pick did not get voted out.
Who's your new winner pick?
If I say it, I feel like it's going to happen next episode, so I can't.
It's like Randy. If Randy picks anybody number one on Survivor in any type of pre-show, you will be voted out early.
Wait,
Randy, your mic is muted. Look, your mic is muted.
Oh, he's not frozen. No, but Caleb. So my winner picks always are doomed to be the mayor of Ponderosa.
Randy
winner picks are right there with you.
I'm blaming my stupid cat. So we have this new kitten. Our family cat passed away probably about a month ago. And so we went out and got a baby kitten. She's 5 or 6 months old, I believe. You can see her in one of the podcasts where she jumped up and she would not get off my lap. She's going nuts at the moment. So ever since I started the podcast, she's like sprinting underneath me. And what happened is I had the cord to my mic sorry, you can't see it. I had it hanging because it's a long cord. I had it hanging down, and she ran through the cord, and her tail caught the cord and completely yanked it off my microphone. So
she doesn't like your takes. That's what's happening here.
No,
it has to be
the new look. It might be the jacket, man. It might be the Topgolf jacket. It could be the hair.
This is what's great about Survivor Now, and the fact that we're live. This is live. You never know what's going to happen. We're going to get to talking the episode, but happy Thanksgiving to all you guys. You can see our new setup that we have. You have Mark the chicken. I thought that was a perfect kind of representation to put for a special Thanksgiving episode. You guys can also join the live chat. We like to call it Ancient Voices. Let us know what you thought about tonight's episode. We want to hear your hot takes, so definitely hop into the chat. All right. Yeah, there she goes again. Let's get on before she tugs my microphone back out, or the microphone cord back out. So, guys, let's just start with a general question this evening. What did we think about tonight's episode? We spoke a little on it before hopping on. Tegwith, I'll start with you, and then we'll go on to Abe and so on.
I will say I feel like it was like a mid episode. Like, it was not the best episode we've ever seen. That happened last week. No, that happened when Savai got voted out. But it wasn't like the worst thing we've ever seen. Like, I will say the twist ended up being better than I thought it was going to be. Do I still love it? No, but it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And so I was pleasantly surprised by that. And I do feel like there was some like what if that was still happening in my brain by the end of the episode, which I do think is the signature of like an okay, good mid episode. I don't think that this is like the best episode we've ever seen in Survivor. I think it was pretty straightforward. I thought that Kendra was going home and she ended up going home. But it's not something that left me going like, why did I just watch that? You know what I mean? So I'm happy with the episode. I'm happy with the episode.
I don't know. It was like one of those episodes. We're so used to it now in this season here for such that build up, that whole climactic build up. And then, oh, wait a minute. It's an entirely different change. We saw it in the last vote out. Nobody saw that vote coming for Kelly. Kelly gets voted out. We see a shot in the dark that actually works. And then we kind of stuck with Jake. The whole episode is kind of like Jake. Like, what is Jake going to do? And we just don't have that same build up. I think there were some high points in the episode, which I thoroughly enjoy. But I'm going to agree. It was like, what if we're going to vote Jake out? I think it was what side of the coin you was going to fall on. If it wasn't Kendra, it was going to be somebody else. And since Dee had her, she was already ironed and said, hey, you got to go. But I didn't see anything that really jumped out except for, and we're going to talk about the immunity challenge. They finally came. We weren't even sure about this last week with Austin's immunity idol becoming an immunity now that all two of the other that went on the trek, they were gone. So now they started off the episode like that, which I thought was great because you let us as viewers know we didn't forget that, hey, somebody has another full immunity idol. I think Austin and Drew really have a power structure here. I would vote out Drew just because his dialogue this particular episode I thought was kind of interesting toward the players. So he gets my I would vote you out this time for this episode.
I think you both said it perfect by the fact that this episode wasn't helped out by the fact that the past couple ones that we've gotten have been absolute masterpieces of Survivor television. We keep hearing the ramblings of Survivor's completely back, which I have been enjoying it just as much. I feel like they've been doing a lot of great things. I don't think this was a bad episode. I just think compared to those two, it was just meh. It was, and I mean this with love to Kendra too. I'm sorry to say this, Kendra. For me personally, Kendra wasn't a big player. So I think the elimination as well was just kind of like, okay, Kendra. I feel like Kendra wasn't changing the game. She competed. I'm not saying she didn't compete. I just feel like in terms of like, if Bruce went home, that's a big elimination. If Dee goes home, that's a big elimination. Emily, Austin. Kendra, I just feel like she wasn't really controlling the game. There wasn't a big narrative. So for me, it was kind of, I was actually thinking this episode that Kendra was maybe getting the edit of someone who makes it to the final three that you kind of forget made it to the final three. Someone like
Dee was going to get voted out this episode. I figured it was going to be another blindside.
I thought so too.
someone like Heather from season 41. Like Heather made it to the final 3, people. Sometimes you might forget that, but so for me, it was just kind of a lackluster episode in that. Did Heather make it to the final
No, she
3?
made it to the fire making. She lost. She lost
Did
in
she-
fire making.
Yeah, because the final 3 were Erica,
I got it wrong.
Deshaun,
And Deshaun.
and
But she
Xander.
made it. She almost won fire making.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. That's funny. I called myself out and got it wrong myself. I just forget about Heather.
I was there and I was like, wait a minute.
We'll check
What's wrong with the picture? I was like, wait a minute.
We have someone in the chat usually. I don't know if he's here today, but he usually checks us. Like we'll say something and he's like, "No, you guys are completely wrong." And I always follow it up with, "Do you know how much Survivor content we watch? There's a lot to remember. Take it easy."
But look, I can't really be bad. That's my season, so I got to be a little better with that one. There may be some other season I'm kind of foggy about, but yeah, I was like, wait a minute, where did Heather come from? No.
Yeah, well, I got kind of close, but okay, I am interested to ask you guys. You weren't surprised by the Kendra vote off because I was kind of shocked. We can get into kind of the discussions that took place in this episode, and I'm sure we'll get more into it when we talk about the immunity twist, we talk about the sanctuary and all that stuff. But I actually thought it was going to be Jake. I feel overall this episode had a lot of bad gameplay. And I'm going to tell you a couple examples. We keep hearing people say you do not want to be at the bottom of an alliance. And these people who are playing are super fans. They know by now someone is on the bottom. I'm going to call Julie out. Julie had the most obvious you were on the bottom ever when she goes to D. And then D basically shuts down her idea again. This has been happening week after week where she's like, I want to do this. And D's like, no, we're doing this. Or Austin's like, no, we're doing this. That tells you where you are in the pecking order. You can also call out Emily, who is going with this group too. Says we need to take out D. Austin and Drew instantly, no. That is an immediate red flag. You need to use some of the people on the bottom to make a big move. And they kept targeting Jake and they're targeting Jake and Kendra. I'm like, why aren't we using Jake as a number, people? He is just out there. Tegworth, I'm going to go to you first. I know I've just spoke a lot. I went on a little rant, but I see you're agreeing with me. I just feel like there was a lot of bad gameplay this episode.
This whole episode. So here's the thing that I'll give credit to where credit is due. Ryan made a really good observation. So I said, what is going on with Bello? There are 4 Reba left in the game. And there are 4 Bello left in the game. Why is this so much a majority when it's actually a 4-4 split from the original tribes, right? And I was like, well, it's because what we see is Katurah and Bruce don't get along. And so because Katurah and Bruce don't get along, they're not as wrapped in. And Ryan goes, well, that shouldn't really matter at this point. You want to get to the end, and if you got to continue on and you got to get these people out because they're controlling so much. And then Ryan even also said, I'm trying to make sure everyone knows that it's Ryan that came up with this idea.
Love you, Ryan.
Ryan, he was like, Drew is doing such a good job. He's giving credit to Drew, and kind of when he explained it, he's explaining it better than I did. But he was like, he is really controlling that Reba group. He's really keeping them in check, which is making it kind of boring for us, but really, really good for specifically Drew's game because he's keeping those people, the 3 Rebas, in check and in line and making it so that the other people are divided and kind of maybe dividing them a little bit more. And it's just like Bello has 4. And the whole time I'm like, Bello, babes, you have 4 and an idol. You have 4 and an idol. What is happening right now? But they just couldn't get it together. And it was really frustrating a little bit for me because the problem is I love everyone on the season. But I love the Bella so much. I don't like to see this keep happening,
The other thing before Abraham chimes in, the only other thing I'll add to that is, yes, they have 4. Like I said, Emily should have joined on with, I don't know. It's a tough situation because I understand Emily's thought trust is a hard thing to earn, but it's a super easy thing to lose. Mm-hmm. And I understand if someone kind of wronged you early on, it's going to be tough to join that group. And she could see Bello as being, I'm just going to be on the bottom of Bello. But I just think it's super obvious right now who is on the bottom of the Reba alliance. It is Austin, Drew, D. And then as soon as they get down to a final 5, if Emily and Julie goes with them, Emily and Julie are the next 2 to go, I believe, unless we actually do see Austin and Drew make a move against D. But you have this relationship happening with D and Austin now where it's not looking like, Austin even said, I don't see myself ever writing D's name down, which is another whole bad move in itself because it's very obvious she's in a good position to win. Abraham, what do you have to add on to this?
You know what? I think when they started off with Katora being a double agent, you being a double agent for what? You're on the bottom. If the tribe that you with is not strong, the tribe that comes in there with the most members that stick together are stronger. It's obvious that Drew and Austin and D and Julie are together. And everybody else falls in the 5th spot. So Emily, I wanted Emily to play better. Looking at it and saying, you know what? I need to make a move and I need to break this up. Because one, she knows what they have as far as special items. I would target either Drew or Austin for a blind side. And I would bring in Couture. Emily and Couture could work together. And then I would bring in Jake. Jake fractured his relationship with Couture back when he said, oh, Bruce had an idol. And I didn't tell you. You didn't even have to tell her that. You could have just went ahead and said, Caleb could say it and keep it moving. And then you would have been in the clear and y'all could still work together. That's why they don't work together. Now, like I said last episode, if you bring Couture and Bruce together, you're talking about an epic blind side. Because as long as Bruce is winning and he has an immunity idol, he gets a little bit closer. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Now, Julie has not controlled any vote up until this point. I don't know where they edited that and say she was going to control this vote, but when she said it, I was like, wait a minute, you haven't controlled any vote, and you have a headstrong group that you're working with D and them, so you're not going to get that. But it's interesting. If you go back and look at Drew's dialect for this episode, he was like, hey, he even at the end when it was at Tribal, I was like, where's he going this episode? But it was pretty interesting how he wanted to depict the people.
He kind of has a Godfather like control of the game. I think it's interesting, Tegan, with that you said that Ryan made the assessment that Drew is controlling the alliance, which I definitely think is a possibility. I'm one of the people, I believe D is kind of telling everyone what to do, but I could see Drew as being someone who's actually controlling it. Like he knows he's letting D take the bullet because he, like Austin said this episode, D's kind of in a role where she's taking a lot of heat off of Austin and Drew.
Yeah, I really think that like the reason why when he said that I was like, that makes total sense is I feel like Drew is somebody who gets all of the information. Like we saw him go away with Emily. Like it wasn't just Drew and Emily talking for a bit. And there was a bit where it was Austin, Drew, and Emily. But I feel like I remember Drew and Emily going off and talking. And then Drew was the first person that Austin told about his Beware advantage. Like I feel like Drew is the person that's getting so much information first and then dispersing it as needed, which I think is a really powerful position to be in. And I feel like he's using his power really interestingly in a way to like keep this majority and keep people together for a really long time. I don't personally love it. Like I said earlier, I don't love it as a television viewer. I don't think it's very interesting to watch. But it's definitely, I feel like a good game strategy, but I feel like in the new era of Survivor, it's going to break down sooner rather than later. You can't go with the 4-person alliance to the end because then what happens? You know what I mean? Like it becomes too uncertain to the end. So I feel like in the next couple of episodes, we'll see that kind of deteriorate. But I think that Drew is, Drew's Drewing. He's Drewing.
Hashtag Drew is Drewing.
I think Drew has he has an intermission. I think that relationship between him and Austin at the beginning is still bearing fruit. But I will say when it was a probability when they broke up for the challenge that Julie could be in danger, having 2 idols makes a difference. Because he was like, hey, take an idol. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to protect you. And I think in that part, Drew doesn't have control because if Drew had total control, he'd be like, hey, hold on to the idol. Let's see what's going to happen. Austin was like, no, we're going to protect our core 4 and everybody else can do or they can manage on their own. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see who's going to be the first one to jump ship. Because look here, if Drew is such a great strategist in a game of Survivor, he's going to have to turn on D and he's going to have to turn on Austin somewhere. You're going to have to blindside Austin because you already know everything he has, or Austin's going to have to blindside Drew. That's just gameplay. So it's going to be kind of interesting as we dwindle these numbers down. We know that there is nobody talking Bruce out of playing his idol if he doesn't win immunity. So you're going to have to pick somebody else off. Jake, you should look at it and be terrified because now really there's nowhere else to go but to Jake. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I still say this episode has some high points in it, especially how they're delivering the news for challenges. I thought that was amazing. Hey, let's split up into threes. Now it's like a schoolyard pick. Yeah. And but we can't forget about Bruce walking around in the daze the whole first 15 minutes of the episode.
Well, yeah. we're definitely going to get to that. You actually walked me into my next question, Abraham, which is of that Reba core alliance, and we're not talking about Emily because I think it's very apparent Emily realizes she needs to jump ship. At some point, she needs to, at the right time, and it could be Emily's winning move if she chooses the right time, she needs to break that group up. But I'm talking the core four. They were referred to that this episode by Julie. So Julie, Dee, Austin, and Drew. Who do we honestly see making that first move? And a little tidbit I noticed as well. I'm obviously not out on the island. I don't know if he got it back or not. I did notice one of the last confessionals where Austin was talking to us right before Tribal Council. It said one immunity idol by his name. So I don't know if Julie has handed back his idol yet. We have seen this come in effect before where someone hands it off and that person just holds it. I honestly don't see Julie doing that. I don't see Julie being a type of person to actually make a big game move and be like, oh, nope, this is my idol now. But we'll have to wait and see. So, Abraham, I'll go to you first on this. Who out of that four is going to be the one who breaks it up, if anybody? Or is this four going to the end together?
I think Julie. I think that what's going to happen is that core three of Austin. Walk me through that. Here's the thing. You know you're solidified with Austin, Drew, and D. Who's been in the last two challenges together competing for immunity?
Julie. Yep.
Julie and Bruce. So right now it's looking like we're going to have to compete against them to try to even win immunity. So if Julie wins immunity and you're start getting down to the pecking order, you really only need two other people to side with you. So even if it gets down to the last two outside of the four, so it's six of them, and be like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and break this up and we're going to do it this way. The people that's in jeopardy is going to be D because D has nothing. And then you're going to try to say, okay, how can we play this? But they still think Julie's going to be loyal. I think Julie's the only one that's going to jump ship because she's going to realize she is the fourth person on that alliance. And it's best to knock out one of the other two and put them in a jury and say, okay, I got a better chance of winning through the jury because now I got votes. So it's going to be pretty easy. Also, we're going to have to put it out there. You got to have some type of resume to try to win Survivor. Mm-hmm. And right now, Julie has, except for the competing but not winning part, what does Julie really have that we're going to say, we're going to give you $1 million? So it's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I feel like Julie has had a lot of ideas. Number one, the person that wrote her name down, Jake, is still in the game. And she's been trying to go for Jake so many times. And she knows it's Jake, right? She says, I want Jake out. She keeps saying it. And yet, the person who didn't write, said Dee's name is out. Kendra said Dee's name, did not write it. She said it to a couple of people. And because of that, she is now out in theory. So here's my thing. I kind of think that Julie is going to, at some point, I think she knows that there's an expiration date to a Final Four. I think nowadays, it's very difficult to go to Final Four and actually have a good argument or to get to Final Three, let's just say, like a Final Tribal Council, and have two people or even one person that you worked very closely with and have an argument against that person. You have to be very, very confident that you are going to be the best person to outline your entire gameplay. And with people, for example, like Drew in your alliance, I think that's going to be it's a pretty tall order, no pun intended, because he's very tall. I really feel like at some point, and I feel like Julie's going to look at all of this, see that she's wanted Jake out 3 episodes in a row, at least 2, 3, whatever it was.
3 since last when he wrote a name down.
Yeah, exactly. And see, oh, it's not happening. Yeah, his name keeps coming up, but for some reason it's not happening. So clearly my voice is not being heard in this alliance. And I think if she's being smart, she'll do something about it. I honestly don't know if she will do something about it. After me saying all of that, I say all of that to say, I feel like she's not actually going to do anything about it. And Drew is going to be the first person to do something about it, because I feel like maybe Drew and Austin, they're close. They're kind of close to, Julie and Dee, but he's, I feel like they're the two. They're the two in their minds. And so I feel like if Drew is like, you know what, we don't need them anymore. We need to just go to final 2, just us 2, because I think that he knows that he can out argue Austin in final chapter.
I think he could. Yeah.
And so I feel like he's going to be the one to kind of make that move, even though I think it really should be Julie, because I think that, when you stack all the evidence up, she's not being listened to in this alliance. She's just keeps getting like shoved to the side. No one's gunning for Jake, even though she's like, I really want to get Jake. I really want to get Jake. Why aren't we getting Jake?
But she has the numbers now
too. So I feel like, it should be her, but I do think it's going to end up being Drew.
I think
she has the numbers. Because look, hold on, but it's Jake, it's Bruce, Katora, and Julie. You have enough numbers now to make a difference. If you don't do it now, you're going to be stuck.
Yeah. I was just about to say, if Jake becomes an easy elimination next week, which I think could be the case, given what happens with Bruce, he wins immunity or he ends up playing his idol. We'll have to wait and see. I think Bruce, I don't know, this might be a stupid thing to say about, and we're about to get to Bruce, and we're going to talk about Bruce's game more in depth here in a second. But I think Bruce needs to look into using that idol to make a big game move. I think so far it's been about, okay, like you said, Abraham, the moment I don't win immunity, I'm going to use my idol for myself to keep me in the game. I get that. That buys you another day. I've never been the biggest fan of that because, yes, it buys you another day, but look at the Caleb situation. He set a Survivor record, and where's Caleb sitting now? Very next week on the jury. I don't see that being something that really helps you. Whereas this week we talk about the bad gameplay. There was a lot of moments that I was like screaming like, oh my God, I would do this. I would do this. And I understand it's easy by the comfort or, at home, comfort of my couch, nice cup of hot cocoa in my hand, whatever. But I was just like irritated. And I'm like, this is such a great opportunity for Bruce to use his idol for an alliance member. I don't think he sees them as an alliance member, but they could be. Because you already know who's not voting. Austin's the only one who lied about that. So you can assume that Katura, Austin, and Emily aren't voting. That helps you out with the numbers a little bit. You know that Reba are going to vote together because they don't have enough people to split votes. There's no reason to really split votes. You have enough people, they don't have enough. That's what I'm trying to say. This was a perfect opportunity for Bruce to go to Emily maybe and say, Emily, we have an opportunity. Look, I have this idol. If you want to flip the game and split up Reba, this is what we can do. Tell us who they're voting. Or try to find. Actually, sorry, he knew who they were voting for because he voted with him. Yeah, he knew. Okay, that makes me even more irritated.
But you got to remember, Kendra also went after Bruce too.
She did, which I understand complicates things. And if Bruce goes on to win the game, he can come back and be like, Randy, remember when you told me I should have played like this? I get there's many different ways to play Survivor. I just saw this as a perfect opportunity to split up that 4 because I don't think they would have saw it coming. 2, you go up to Kendra. I'm playing my idol for you tonight. You play the idol on Kendra. You get Austin out of the game. You could have targeted Austin. Austin could have been blindsided with 2 because the votes are going to Kendra.
Well, here's the thing about it is if you get too comfortable, and right now Drew and Austin and B are too comfortable, and that's when you really get God in Survivor. But here's the thing you got to remember also: Bruce was emotionally shook from the conversation he had with the other tribe, and they said, "Hey, Kelly really wasn't your number 1," so he was shook with that. So now anytime you sleep on the beach, Fiji beaches, I would never sleep on the beach. It's just too much stuff crawling. It's just too much stuff crawling, and I'm like, no, I'm not sleeping out there.
Abraham,
see,
I'm trying to figure out
No.
how we get from talking about the Reba Alliance and Bruce's
No,
idol
'cause-
to sleeping on the beach.
because you got to remember, you said, hey, look, if I was out there, I would have did this move, that move. Emotionally, Bruce just wasn't checked in at the first part of this episode. And if you're sleeping on the beach, you don't want to be bothered with your tribe. Because here's the thing about it is, you are also the same person that reacts to stuff at home. It's just magnified on Survivor. So when you don't want to talk to somebody, you really don't want to talk to somebody on Survivor. So sleeping on the beach, he really didn't want to talk to him, because let me tell you, it looks like it's dark out there. Everything is crawling, everything is moving, and you have no fire. So it wasn't until after the immunity challenge that we saw in the edits that Bruce was like, I got to take, I'm back. I got a little power back. So Bruce was shook. So we didn't have to worry about him. And he just went along with the vote. He didn't even try to say, hey, I want to vote this way or vote that way. Now, I do think next episode, we're going to see some fireworks and who's going to actually team up to see who gets voted out.
We have to, because Tegwit, that's I mean, it's the topic of the episode. I should have just named the podcast Bad Moves Survivor 101 or whatever. The mindset this week, and we saw this at the sanctuary with the reward, was as long as it's not me, I'm going with the pack. Well, eventually it's going to be you if you just go along with the pack. This is a numbers game. It's all about getting alliances or voting blocks, however you want to look at it. I just don't see where that strategy is a good one to follow.
Now, hold on for a second. I got to talk about the sanctuary. Let's go. Come on. Old school Survivor. You didn't get one chicken. You got a biscuit. You got something to drink. You didn't have to choke it down. And I'm like, come on, sanctuary. Y'all being cheap on the staff.
I'm not even bringing it up because I literally saw that he said you're going to the sanctuary where good things happen or whatever he says. And I'm like, I literally yelled. I was like, come on. Like
a chicken by itself. You ain't got nothing with the chicken. Just a chicken. We can do better than that. Season 46, I need to see some better food.
I also want to say, just adding on to that, as a vegetarian, the fact that Kendra ate a chicken and then got voted out makes me so upset. Makes me so upset to my core because she didn't have to eat the chicken. She was going to be out of the game in like 12 hours. She could have
17 days.
We literally have Mark
the
chicken. We have Mark the chicken right here too. Oh man, she should have been.
I know. I literally thought in my head, I was like, if she gets voted out after not eating chicken for 15 years and then eating that freaking chicken, I'm going to be upset. And I was upset. She
jumped on that chicken. She jumped on that chicken. I saw her. She gave her speech and she said, chicken. I'm getting it. Yeah. 17 days make you change your mind about that chicken.
That's true.
But back to the question, Tegwis. I mean, what's going on with this strategy of as long as it's not me, I'll go with the flow? I'm like, don't you want to control your vote, your narrative here?
Yeah, that's the problem with New Era Survivor. That's the problem with New Era Survivor. There's no it's just like if you're too big of a threat, that's a problem. So if you draw too much attention to yourself in any way, shape, or form, whether that be your attitude, your gameplay in terms of how well you do at the challenges, or how strategic you are, those are all problems in one way, shape, or form, right? Because it draws too much attention to you, and then they will vote you out because they don't want to go up against you in Final Tribal Council, right? But then there's the problem of if you don't do anything and one other person does one other thing and you go to Final Tribal Council with them and you've done nothing the entire time, then they have a better argument, right? So you have to, it's the balancing act, which is why Survivor is interesting and why it's amazing and why it's the greatest game ever, right? Because it's a balancing act. But when every single person says anybody but me, that's when it becomes a problem, right? It's hard. I feel like it's hard for players to get over that because, you're trying to continue on in the game. You're in a game for $1 million. That's a lot of money. I don't know if you guys know that, but $1 million is a lot of money. And not only that, but you're also playing to be one of 43 people to ever get the title of sole survivor. So it's just like, so many things. But the problem is, in order to win that, you have to make moves. You have to have a resume. And so it's interesting to see someone, for example, bringing it back to Julie, who is trying to make moves. She's trying to do this, but her alliance just doesn't like it, and the moves that they're doing are going around it. But the one thing I want to say after all of this is I want to talk about Jake for a second, because I find it very intriguing that Jake was a target this episode.
I did. Yes.
Because why would anybody other than Julie be like, and granted they shifted from Jake to Kendra, but the fact that he was even a thought boggles my mind.
I feel.
So who was?
Oh,
who
go ahead.
Been,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but who would have been a target if it wasn't Jake?
Well, that's the thing. The problem is Jake was the obvious target. The week before he had essentially no say in what happened that last tribal council. He thought he was going home. So why not continue on with this gentleman who essentially doesn't seem to have a lot of agency in the game because he was completely blindsided when he thought he was going home. And so why are we saying like, okay, Jake's got to be the vote? Because it just doesn't make any
Easy
sense
vote.
for any. But it's an easy
terrible.
vote. I don't think it's the right move. An easy vote is a good thing to happen at the merge. It's a good thing for the first vote. It's a good thing for pre-merge. Easy votes are good up until a certain point when it becomes like we were just talking about how we don't want it to be. You want it to be anybody but me, right? But it's the problem where at this point in time, it can't really be anybody but me. You can't really play that game unless you're Sandra, I think.
It is literally, I mean, I think it's one of my biggest like problems with Survivor gameplay. And I feel like if I ever go out there, it's how I want to play. So if you ever play on Survivor, you're going to know my strategy if I'm out there with you. This strategy is not done enough. So I would literally call it the Randy way to play Survivor. And that is, we've seen it a lot where they just kind of shove someone out of the game, and Jake is in this like area right now where he's not even really in the game. People aren't counting him as a number they can use. People aren't really worried about his vote. People are just like, yeah, let's just throw Jake. Like Abraham says, he's the easy vote. That should be, we're in the mood for Thanksgiving. That should be like walking into Thanksgiving and you have all this food on the table and you see the greatest thing there, the most appetizing thing, that mac and cheese that everybody wants to get as much of as they can. That should be Jake. Jake should be the most crucial person in the game. And why I say that, I'm not saying he's playing the best game. I'm not saying he has the most power. I'm not saying he's going to be the most trustworthy, the best ally. I get why they're scared. You know, there's stuff we're not seeing. He's a little bit chaotic and stuff like that. Jake has no one. He's got nobody to play with. And even Jake knows that. I don't know how it's coming out on the island, but we see countless shots of this man just walking around doing nothing. Like they're definitely,
you can't do that. You can literally do that.
they're definitely painting him as having like no friends, nothing to do. This guy's just walking around all the time, making some of the best faces. He's trying to battle Carolyn for like the amazing faces of Survivor. He's like, amazing. Yeah, love it.
But look at it.
Whoa, I'm sorry. Whoa.
But look at it. Look at it like this. What edit did you see Bruce and Jake in together?
What are you talking about? They were an alliance from the get-go.
No. Now, this last episode, what edit did you see him and Bruce talking any type of strategy this episode?
None.
No, we didn't see it. Even when you went to the pick to say who you want to be on tribes with, Jake was trying to play, I need to try to make myself safe. Jake wasn't trying to make any move, but in his confessionals, I need to make a move. I need to get back into the game. I need to put myself back in position. But Jake hasn't done anything but say, as long as it's not me. He's right on the same page. As long as it's not me.
I agree with that. I will say I do think that he's doing that, and I don't think that's the smartest move for Jake. I think right now it's the point in time where Jake has the most agency that he's had in a long time. But here's the thing. I think it's the right thing for Reba to go for the easy vote. I don't think it's the right thing for Bella or Emily to go for Jake. And the fact that a couple of them were considering it really confused me why Emily was like, I thought the vote was Jake. Why is it not Jake? Like that legitimately was like, why would you, when you know that these people have had a 4-person alliance for a long time, in what world? I love Emily. I love her so much. But like, why would she then take the place of these 3 people to be Drew's number 2 or these 2 people to be their number 3. I feel like she has to know, or I really hope that she knows that she is the number 5 in that alliance. And so when she was like, why is it not Jake? In that conversation with Drew, that should have been a red flag for Emily. That should have been a red flag.
Yes. Yes.
He was told she thought it was a Jake. But then Drew was like, oh, wait, no, I thought it was Kendra. It's Kendra. We're going Kendra. Why did Emily not know that? Why did Emily not know that in that conversation? Why did Drew slip up when he said that? You know what I mean? So I really, really feel like I'm not saying that I think that Jake is the person. I get why Jake is playing how he's playing because he was just targeted. It's the other 4 people, Emily and the 3 Bellows, where I'm feeling that they're just kind of tossing him aside when he could be so integral to getting them.
He is such an important number. And you brought up Sandra earlier, Tegwith, and I think that's a lot of the reason that I believe Sandra has been successful in the game of Survivor in becoming the first 2-time winner is she sees that in people. I feel like a lot of times Sandra doesn't want to go the easy route. She wants to go Sandra's route. She knows what she wants to do. And I think if you look at the best players ever to play the game, they go their own route. They don't go along with the crowd. They say, I don't want to make this move, so I'm not going to make this move. I'm going to go over here and tell this person, this is the move I want to make. I'm going to go to those people who have nowhere else to go and bring them under my wing. It's a strategy that I'm shocked more people don't do. Obviously, Abraham, you speak about the struggles out there on the island. You know, we're saying this with a full stomach. We're all hydrated. And I understand maybe Jake snores super loud and it annoys you. So you're not even thinking about that. But sorry, Jake, I'm not trying to put you out there as a loud snorer. But it's just, it's kind of infuriating at times watching it and being like, there is such an easy route to go if you want to split Austin, Drew, D, all of them up. And it's just to go after the people who have nowhere else to go.
Here's the thing, man. I wish we'll see a little more of the Emily from the first episode. That Emily that challenged Bruce and said, Bruce, you already got an advantage on us. I wish we would see a little more of her now, because that Emily, I think, will be playing a whole different other game. This Emily is kind of just trying to see how long she can survive. And that's really what we're seeing. We're seeing the bottom not come together and say, let's duke it out. You know what? I love the challenge this episode where they broke them up by 3s and they had to compete against each other. But I also love the twist when they was like, you 3, you all lose your vote. That's something we have never seen in Survivor in a challenge in 3 stages. So, but again, use that to your advantage. Emily, you had a clear-cut advantage now because you know out of the 3, somebody would have lost their vote. Wait a minute, Emily, it was you. So you got to try to say, okay, how do I maneuver now with no vote to try to get the advantage? Because you knew who was on the island. You knew who was on the challenge with you. So it's kind of interesting how nobody's really stepping out and saying, like Sandra, I'm going to take control of this group here, and I'm going to compete against the ones that think they're in charge. We always see the one that think they're in charge broken up anyway. So I say Austin has the most power because I think Drew wouldn't play his special thing unless he had to or was told to. So I would blindside Drew.
Mm-hmm. And can I play devil's advocate for Emily really quickly? Because here's the thing. I think that we're going to see that Emily again. I really do. What Emily, the Survivor 101 that she got, right, when she was in Lulu, she got, she realized that she would have been voted out. She realized she kind of had to take a back seat. Caleb helped her a little bit. I truly think that she's trying to keep her, she went out really hot and she had a target on her back for everybody saw that she was somebody who was willing to fight, right? And so I think that she's trying to keep her target threat level down a little bit. And I think she's someone who's willing to say her mind at any point in time. She's shown that in tribal council after tribal council. When she thinks something, not like just, she doesn't just blurt it out, but when she has something to say, when she has something to add to the conversation, she'll say it. And so I truly think that we will see. That's why I definitely feel like Emily, knock on wood, is going to the final 3. And I think it's because that she's going to.
Emily's out now.
No, I was just about to say I would like to solve the puzzle and take a guess at who Tegwa's winner pick is.
No, I didn't say she was a winner. That's not what I said.
Anytime you 2 pick anybody, they gone. So Emily, I hope.
But I will say, I just really feel like she knows what it takes to like do those kind of moves, but she realized how much heat she got in the beginning. And so I feel like she's willing to make those moves, and she just is biding her time.
I'm gonna go with it like this. We wouldn't even see Emily right now if Lulu wasn't the tribe it was. We wouldn't see Emily. Emily came out the gate hot, and I enjoyed it. She had a lot of spice to her. But if Lulu had a better tribe, guess what? Emily would have been gone, because Emily's first impression was just too much hostility. We all love that in her, but again, anything gets you kicked off Survivor. So she would have been voted off. But she had 3 other tribe mates that they just basically said, you know what, I'm done with the game, which allowed her to be able to be in a position now. Now realize where you're at. You made it to it. Now make a move. Because if she was sitting in the final 3 right now, and we're like, okay, she's sitting next to an Austin. Drew got blindside. D, Austin, and Emily. Who are you voting for? Who are you going to give $1 million to? I can tell you who I'm not going to give $1 million to.
I would say either D or Emily, but I feel like the thing is Emily's game, if she argues it properly, I think she has a very good chance to argue, because number one, she has another Lulu on the jury. She has a Lulu on the jury who was there with her.
Mayor Ponderosa.
Mayor Ponderosa, how we know how that important that is.
She did vote him out.
He was like, she would have gone home first, but she learned from her mistakes. She continued on. She continued forward, and she was integral to me being on this jury. I would not be here on this jury if it weren't for Emily twice. If it weren't for Emily twice. And the Mayor Ponderosa is because of Emily.
I don't know, because you still voted unanimously for Caleb. So at some point you got to say was you
for her to do that, to put her on the outs.
It was a great game move. I think Caleb will understand it. Yeah.
Caleb totally understands.
I think Caleb would look at the players that are in front of him and say, okay, who's the best player? Who played and who deserves to be here? Now, that could be true, but Survivor is also petty. So I don't want y'all to forget that part. This shit is petty as hell.
With all that being said, we spent a lot of time on a lot of the castaways. We do have to talk about that insane twist to the immunity challenge. Abraham's been trying to get to it the entire episode. We will finally let him share his opinions on it right after this commercial break. We'll be right back, guys.
Hi, Survivor Now podcast listeners. I am Katie from KT Designs, better known as Katie Tedesco Art, on both Instagram and Etsy. I have been designing and selling Survivor products for over 7 years at my Etsy shop, including replicas like hidden immunity idols and Survivor trading cards with all of the players' stats on the back. I am so grateful for Survivor Now for giving me this shout out and helping me reach even more super fans. I love listening to their podcast. So if you are looking for some really unique reality TV products for yourself or to give a super fan in your life, come check out my Etsy shop at www.etsy.com/shop/KatieTedescoArt.com.
And you can win some of those. Do I have the bag right here? I do. Katie Tedesco herself sent me, sorry, I almost showed the address. Good thing I didn't. Sent me a package. This will be going, there's something in here, but this will be going to one of the top 3 finishers in our fantasy competition. And I know it's not the holiday season yet in terms of like Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, but I do have a gift here. It's got my name on it. I'm going to be opening it live for you guys if I can figure out how to open it. And if I can do it in a timely manner without shredding it. Hold on. Let me use my teeth.
Can I just say, I think that I might be the person who has the most points of the people that commentate in the Survivor Now League in our bracketology. And I am going to write that on my tombstone. I know it's not the end of the I am very, very proud of that.
Segwith, I don't know. I knew I was close to you. And I forgot to check my team tonight. I am devastated. I did not set my team for fantasy. So I'm like, well, there's the nail in the coffin. I'm not finishing top 3 now. I was already. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this has been a long time coming, and because of my poor communication skills, it's been a while for it to actually get shipped over to me. But Idle Plays, www.idleplays.com. You also, I mean, they make some incredible puzzles. So I got connected with Idle Plays through Russell Muscle TV. Go check him out on his YouTube channel. We've done a few collabs with him. He is a wonderful guy. He makes some incredible content. He's also the best Russell in the Survivor community from what I've been told. So so we have a partnership going with Idle Plays. You can win a few of these puzzles through our fantasy competition. Obviously, it's too late really to join now. You would not catch up to the top 3. It is super competitive, but yes, if you can't win this because you didn't join our bracketology fantasy competition, you can buy them yourself on www.idleplays.com. There's a link in the description below. It's there right now. I added it on before we went live. And if you click on that link that says that Survivor Now sent you, you get 15% off your order to get a puzzle from Idle Plays. You can also use the code. I believe it's don't quote me on it. I will have it next time we go live. I believe it's just Survivor Now Podcast is the code, but I would have to check. But yeah, I got a bag, I got a sticker, and then I got the fire puzzle. Do you know what one I'm talking about? It builds up and then
I have it.
Is that the hanging one?
It's there's a base to it, and it's like you have to build the fire up. Yeah. So I got that. It crossed my mind to sit here and try to solve it while we finish up the episode, but I can just tell you right now, it would never. Well, I can already tell it's hard right now because I'm taking all the pieces out, and I'm like, I don't even know where to begin.
When you get selected with Tegworth,
20 minutes.
When y'all get selected for Survivor, they'll give y'all puzzles in the hotel while y'all waiting.
Oh, by the way, let us know in the comments. This is something that I've thought about doing, maybe in the off season, maybe when Survivor is off the air. So it'd be like next summer because we obviously have Survivor Australia coming up and all that fun stuff. But should we do a puzzle off? Should Tegworth and I go live and try to solve a puzzle and see who can compete it the fastest?
That would be hilarious.
I'm bad at puzzles.
Tegworth, I'm awful at puzzles. That's the fun in it. It would be like a 2-hour-long podcast. You know that puzzle. Sorry, I'm almost done with the puzzle talk. I promise you. But you know that puzzle where it's like, oh my God, what season was it? It's like the Chinese dragons going around. It's
that's a good one.
I worked on that. I have that one as well. And that took me, I kid you not, 2 hours to finish. So I'm terrible. But the last thing I will say is boom, boom. These are the puzzles that go to the fantasy winners. You will get to choose from yellow, red, and orange. So yeah, there's the thank you Idle Plays for supporting the show.
How am I doing in the other one? I should be still.
You're dominating. Tegworth, we got to get you in the podcasting fantasy league next year.
I do like 9 fantasy leagues. I don't know if I can. I don't have the brain.
What?
That's Tegworth's nice way of saying no. I'm good.
As long as you have.
But I just I'm doing bad at all of them except for the one.
Do not follow Will. He is currently out.
A few people out, but let's get back to the episode now. It took me forever. I go on tangents all the time. It took me forever to get through Idle Plays, but thank you to Russell Muscle TV and Idle Plays for allowing me to get onto your immunity program. Tegworth, go ahead.
I know we're talking about the challenge and the twists, and I have a question on the TikTok live that I just want to read really quickly. It's about this. So Sarah Talk BB talks about Big Brother on TikTok. She's great. She asked, how do you feel about all the stacked twists that cause people to lose their votes? So I feel like that goes into exactly what we're
perfect way to start.
Which is the challenge and the losing of the votes. So Abraham, what do you feel about people losing their votes?
You know what? We're trying to balance out this new Survivor. We don't have as amount of time. So I like the possibility of losing your vote. Because look here, if you don't come to compete on the challenges, then why are you coming? And you got to compete on every challenge. And I like the fact that it's not the same boring, repetitious challenge. I think in the first season 1 through 4, we kind of got caught in that bringing back the old episodes. So I like the new twist. I like the new turns. And here's the thing. You can get your vote back. You know, that's like a bonus, because before it's like you could have just lost your vote and be done with it. But I like the fact that the first group not to can finish, because you don't know who's actually gonna finish. So when you do the schoolyard pick, you was like, to me, Bruce, Julie, and who's on it? Bruce, Julie, who's on the tribe?
It was
Kendra.
Yes.
You'd be like, Austin then would have beat her. Austin probably had the best chance of beating Austin, D, Drew. They had a better chance of beating her. And what happens? The team less likely to win wins. So I think it balanced everything out, especially with the physicality, with the players. And now we get to see who truly wants to try to win and put it together. Because if you remember, the red tribe was ahead. Kendra and them was behind. And Julie was the last one to pull up. Now we also got people that can throw challenges. So it'd be a good place to throw a challenge. So I love the fact they have that dimension to it now. So I loved it.
I hate taking votes away. I always have, and I always will. I'm okay. It's very apparent that Jeff, this is Survivor now. You're going to have to earn everything, and you're going to have to earn your vote. I never saw votes as something you should earn. That should be the baseline of Survivor. That is the game. I'm okay. I didn't hate this. I'm okay with taking away votes if you give them an option to win it back. I understand people are going to be like, well, the beware advantage, you have an opportunity. You don't have to take the beware advantage. Yeah. I understand that, but it's still, you don't know what it's going to be. And it could be something where it's like super hard and you never get your vote back. We haven't really seen it yet, but it could be. This I liked. So basically, I know you guys watched the episode, but just to give you a quick rundown, the party or whatever, the team, the tribe that loses first one's eliminated. They have to go on a journey to Journey Island, and they have to solve this math puzzle, which I wouldn't even try. I would literally turn around and start heading back to the boat, because it's just not happening in a giant waste of 3 minutes. So it looked very challenging. But I like the fact that you have a chance. Look, we're going to take your vote away, but don't worry, you can get it back, earn it. That is earning your vote. Not we're going to take your vote away because you did this one advantage or something. That's not earning it. That's not making them earn it. Making them earn it is we're taking it away. Go earn your vote back. That I do like that aspect of it.
Yeah, here's my thing. So I've always I've never really enjoyed the challenges where people get eliminated in the end, because I don't find it very interesting, because what happens at the end is people are holding something, and it's like, why couldn't we have just done this?
Just do the endurance challenge.
Yeah. The fact that it's a team thing and the team lost their vote, and it's not like, because you dropped out first, you lose your vote, you have a chance to gain it back. That I think I would have been way more okay with. But the fact that like one person, because they couldn't find rope, they were digging, they were there first, they couldn't find rope, that they were the ones to lose their vote. I think that stinks. I really feel like I would have been way more okay with it had it been, all right, we're doing this endurance challenge. The first 3 people to go out of this endurance challenge are going to lose their vote. The middle 3 people to go out are just going to go back to their camp. And the 3 people who last the longest are going to win reward and go to the thing. I think there's a way around it to make it seem a little bit more fair. Now, let me just say also, I don't feel like we should be playing with people's votes this late in the game. We have 9 people left. Play with their votes earlier. Do things earlier.
Get them.
This is the playoffs. This is the playoffs pretty much right now.
Well, I
agree with this.
Comments say, trust your cast. They have a great.
Yep, I was just about to say, we got a lot of comments here. I'm going to share all of Jay's comments because I love this. So Jay says, no, Abraham, it's a dumb twist. Calling out Abraham. Abraham's always going to side with the new era because he was in it. We got some more here. Jay, the final 9 of season 44 was really good. Production should have taken note of it and let the players play. This is what Tegwood talked about. # trust your cast. If people can't vote, it hinders good gameplay. I don't mind people losing their vote once in a while, but doing it almost every episode now is ridiculous. I want to talk about that because, Abraham, I know you're very trusting in Jeff, and no, it's making I'm going to try not to get in a long rant here, but I'm going to try to keep it short and simple. I agree with this comment 1,000%. Jay, I love that you brought it up. Survivor has been so good over the years, and we've gotten so many memorable moments because the cast can play. And now we're casting super fans of the game who are more prepared than ever to bring the best strategy out there onto the island. There are so many twists, and this is, if I could tell Jeff one thing, this is what I would tell him. And if I ever see him in public, I promise everybody watching, I am going to ask this. I don't care if it costs me. I want the game to be as good as possible, but I'm going to say, Jeff, can we dial it back on the advantages? And if he asks, oh, do you not like him or why? Which he wouldn't. He would just be like, no, and probably move on. But I will say, we're not letting the players do what they can do because they have to work their way around 20 advantages in the game. We're taking votes away that could be used for an epic blindside. You can't really pull off an epic blindside when there's only 4 people out of 10 people voting in the game. We are taking those moments away. I don't know. I don't get paid the big money to say, and this is probably the part that I'm going to post on Instagram because it needs to be said. I don't get paid the big bucks. I'm not a producer of the show. I'm not what's keeping the show on television. I'm not Jeff Probst making the decisions.
Yes, you are.
But this just seems like a no-brainer that there's too many. I don't know what caused them to do it. There's too many advantages. Let the players do what they're good at, and that is produce epic television, epic moments, and stop limiting them in this game. That's exactly what you guys are doing with the twist. It's not something super fans want. It's not keeping us entertained. We don't need 9 to 20 idols and advantages in a season. Survivor will live on if you just go back to basics.
Now, here's a question, Randy. Would you take, so you saying take out the shot in the dark? Take one of those advantages out.
I like the shot in the dark.
Whoa. Randy
I love the shot in the dark.
No.
That's the
you love
one
it
that
because you've seen
say.
it played. You love it because it's one of the epic part of this season.
No.
The way it was played. So the shot in the dark, nobody has played an idol yet. And we know we got at least 3 of them. Nobody's played an idol or used an idol as a strategy to move forward in the game. Nobody has really threatened anybody with an idol because everybody knows who has an idol, except for probably the people not on Reba, but all of Reba knows it. But here's the thing about it is, I like the fact that they take their votes because if you got a strong alliance, it doesn't make a difference if you have a vote or not. Because Austin didn't have a vote for the longest because he was building his special immunity up because he had to wait. So he wasn't voting. So are we saying that Austin gets a special item, but he can't vote, but he has a choice? And he makes a choice not to vote. So he's giving his vote away because he already knew he had a strong alliance. And that's the thing about it is, I tell people, get you a strong alliance before the merge and get you a strong alliance after the merge. Because really, at this point in the game, nobody on Reba, if they lose their vote, got to be worried about being voted out. Nobody.
Abraham, I'll just say what the problem is, and Tegworth, I know you have something to add here. The problem is with that whole statement you just said, is you said at one point, Austin has an idol, but can't vote, but can also save himself. That's too much to follow. I was literally like, I had to think about it for a second. I was like, what is he trying to say? It shouldn't be that difficult. It should literally be like,
but Austin is following. Austin is going into the voting booth saying, I ain't gonna vote this time because I know once this vote happens, once you make it past this tribal, this is a full immunity idol. He wants that full immunity idol, but he also knows that Reba is strong enough to carry him and not vote. Even if you go back to the Caleb epic vote out, who didn't vote?
There's some incredible moments that happen, but I will. This is the last thing I'll say on it because I know I did go on a super long tangent. I want to give Tegworth a chance to respond, and then we've got a lot of comments here backing yours truly up. But I will say, do a new era season call it whatever you want. Survivor 47, back to basics. Survivor 47, blast from the past. Whatever you want to call it, just call it Survivor 47. Go back to what made the show successful. Maybe one idol, maybe two max. Let the players play. No, none of these advantages that you thought was a good idea. I'm talking to Jeff Probst and the producers and everyone. Go back to the original seasons. Put one idol, maybe no idols. Let's see how well the players play. I guarantee the season lives up to expectations, and it's an incredible watch.
Well, here's my thing. I think I'm in between both of you because I am somebody who I am fine with twists. I am fine with like the twists. It's just, okay, my big thing that I don't love in the grand scheme of Survivor is when we see, and this is not a hot take, when we see one group of people dominate throughout the entire time, unless I like those people, unless I was like the Black Widow Brigade, and then I love it. You know, there's always an exception to the rule.
Iconic, yes.
You know what I mean? There's always an exception to the rule, but it's not super interesting to watch a bunch of people dominate over everybody. It's just not fun. That's not a fun thing. So I understand throwing things in to like make it slightly more unpredictable, but here's my big thing with that. The fact that they took out the swaps in the beginning and they keep breaking people up. I personally believe, and I said this before, I don't know if it was on the podcast or if it was on my TikTok or wherever it was. I personally believe when they keep dividing people up in this way, it makes it more boring because the people that you bond with on Survivor are going to be the people that you initially bond with, right? Are the people that you meet in those first 5, 6, 7 days, right? Especially if you don't go to tribal council. If you don't go to tribal council, you are only becoming friends with them, right? You are, you're maybe something's annoying you about them or whatever, but these are the people that you'll bond with. And so taking swaps out, making it so that, at the merge, you're actually divided into 2 groups, or you keep keep dividing people into groups later on after these alliances have been made and solidified. I personally believe make it so that it makes you rest on the alliance that you made on day one. Because, so I think, now granted, there was a swap this season. That's very true. But I think maybe because it's a shorter season, I think that this is goes into my theory. But at the merge, when you're divided into 2 groups of 6, it's anybody but me. So what are you going to do? Are you going to rely on somebody that you met like 4 days earlier? Or are you going to rely on the person that you met on day one that's had your back so far this time? You're probably going to rely on the person that's had your back since day one, right? And then they go in again and then they split you up again. Oh gosh, we're split up again. What am I going to do? Am I going to make new bonds at the merge? No, I'm going to make sure that it's not me. And the best way that it's not me is by sticking with the people that I met on day one. I think splitting them up continuously really solidifies the fact that the people that you meet on day one that you've solidified this bond with and you can trust them are the people that you play with a really, really long time. And I think it discourages people making other bonds. We've seen so many people not really play across tribal lines in the last couple of seasons. I mean, it doesn't happen that often in Survivor, but I really feel like the way that they're doing it right now solidifies that. And I think, again, dividing them into groups of 3 makes it so that you're not actually bonding with these people. You're just like, okay, I don't want it to be me. I'm going to trust the rest of my group over there. And it's not actually making people get into these other bonds. And so I honestly, the twists I don't love. Obviously, we've heard that before. The thing that I really don't love is that you keep separating the players so that they're not actually getting as bonded as you need to be to create actual alliances. So that's my soapbox. That's what I've been saying most of this season. I just really feel like, you gotta find a way to get people to, like the Tika 3. The Tika 3 were together the entire time. There was barely a swap. They were Tika. They were,
This tangent was so needed. I saved the most chats that I've ever saved. I was listening along, and then just Jay and Chris in the chat. I got to show all these. I'm going to read through them really quick here. So, Chris, can we get Tegwith on the main recap more often? That is up
Chris
to
is a hater.
Tegwith. Tegwith always has an invite to be on this show. I do not tell Tegwith you can't join us on Wednesday nights. That is up to Tegwith. And then Jay, hey Chris, agreed. Bring Tegwith on more often. We have Jay right here. By the way, I'll just say, guys, you can see Tegwith on Survivor Social. It's not like she doesn't do any show. Jay right here. Exactly, Randy. They're casting super fans who know how to create chaos on their own without these dumb twists messing up potentially epic blindsides and interesting social dynamics. Chris, yeah, I am still enjoying the U.S. show because of how well cast it is, but we don't need so many of these twists. And then a few, I'll say this one first. Jay, I suspect maybe the CBS top brass is putting pressure on Survivor to make the show as chaotic and explosive as possible. And maybe that's why there's all these twists. That is very possible that Jeff doesn't have anything to do with it. Survivor, the producers don't. It's CBS saying, if you want to stay on air, this is what needs to happen. And then some funny things here. Chris says, Randy looks about 10 years older, by the way, with his facial hair and glasses. And then Jay says, LOL, Chris, I think this is a good look for Randy. Thank you so much. I mean, they are keeping it alive in the chat. I'll definitely say that. But I just have to say, I think that whole tangent that we went on basically is the biggest problem with the new era. It's a fine line. We saw it with season 41. Abraham, I know you said you guys were the guinea pigs, and I think that is a perfect way to assess your cast. They were testing a lot of stuff out. They knew it was right after a pandemic. They knew that people were going to watch no matter how bad the season may have been, because they were just excited to have Survivor back. So they said, you know what? We're going to throw all of this at the wall. We're going to try everything that we've wanted to try, but we're too scared to implement. We're going to see what sticks and what doesn't. And then over time, season 42 was a little bit better. I personally did not like 42. I don't want to get too much into it, but everybody knows by now I'm not a big fan of the winner of season 42.
Who's the winner of 42?
Marianne. I'm not a Marianne Survivor winner fan. I love Marianne as a person, but I am not a Survivor Marianne player fan. Season 43, a lot of people will disagree because of who won that season, but I think it was even better. 44 was terrific. And then I was saying, well, 45 is not going to be able to live up to season 44. And it has. I feel
it's already past season 44.
It's so good.
As much shit as the producers, Jeff Probst, CBS, Survivor gets, they are improving the show. You add on the fact that marketing this season for Survivor 45 has been top notch. This is something that should be done every single year. And Abraham, I did watch the podcast last week, even though I wasn't here. I just want you to know that I watched the shows. Abraham, you brought it up. The marketing has been terrific. And you feel like Survivor is getting back to a level that it once was. And I agree. I feel like we went through a lull where a lot of casual fans were leaving.
Well, we didn't see Jeff on
casual fans are coming back.
Well, we didn't see Jeff on so many different stages. I mean, we saw Jeff on the morning shows. We saw Jeff out there in public. I mean, Survivor, if you go in Walmart, there's a sign when you walk through the door. Survivor's up there.
At a fan screening. We saw Jeff at a fan screening.
We just have to talk to Tegwith. Tegwith is best friends with Jeff Probst now. Did you
we
not
are
know
besties.
that?
We are besties.
And I mean, the buzz of Survivor.
Him about it though. He likes to downplay it.
But we see the buzz of Survivor now almost going back to the levels of the old times before we had the pandemic, where Survivor was one of those main shows out there that people tuned into to see what was going to happen next. So I think it's great. I look at 41. I'm always calling it an experiment because you didn't know what was going to work, what was going to work. Danny hate that hourglass and never wants to ever see the hourglass again. But
it did not show up. Can we celebrate that it was in the preview and the hourglass did not show up? I'm convinced
it hasn't showed up yet. It didn't show up yet.
It better not show up, or I will turn off the app.
The
Mark
only
my
time I wanted
words.
that hourglass was at the merge when all the people I loved were up to vote, and I was like up for the vote. I was like, maybe bring back that hourglass.
If I'm saying it right now, and I promise you, if they bring back the hourglass, I'm shutting off the episode immediately. I will watch it later on in the week, and I will not do the podcast in respect.
Yeah.
Like,
Look, they had the
right.
you got the you got. I mean, you had so many things that didn't work, did work, and they kind of flushed it out in 40. You really couldn't flush it until 43.
Whoever
42
thought of the hourglass should
yeah.
be fired. I'm just putting it out.
Yeah,
Let me say, here's my thing though.
They
I am
Should
happy
not,
that
not have a job anymore.
I'm happy that they're experimenting. You know, they're a show that's been on for 45 seasons, almost 46, almost 47. You know, I would rather them continue to experiment with things and continue to fail and make us super fans mad than them just be stagnant and be canceled. Like, I would much rather them continue to stir things up and do things that make us mad for 1 or 2 episodes than to just like do nothing and be canceled, because that has happened to other shows. And I'm really happy it's not this one.
Yeah.
So
I think the 90 days, the 90 minutes was definitely a turning point to, you know, build Castaway relationship with the fans. So you're right, Tara. I think the changes that were made will continue to be made, Randy, and we will continue to see changes. You know, you wanted the auction. You cried about the auction for 3 straight seasons in a row, and they finally gave you the auction, and the auction was back.
Well, that's the thing. I'll just say it right there. We cried about the auction, and
Randy cried about the auction.
No, a lot of people cried about the auction. Like a lot of fans said, look, and again, I'm not getting paid the big bucks, but they listened to the fans. They brought the auction back. And what was episode of the season? What was the episode of the season?
Why is no out?
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. But it could be the auction, and it almost makes you wonder, maybe we should listen to the fans more. Another thing that the fans want, and we didn't really spend too much time on the sanctuary because I didn't want to even bring it up. The fans said bring back the auction. They brought back the auction. It was like the episode was widely watched. It got great viewing numbers. Everyone loved it. Okay, here's another thing. The fans want actual rewards back, like taking a helicopter around the island, going swimming with jellyfish and stuff like that. Maybe if you bring that back, more people will watch. Why don't they listen to the fans more? I'll give you the short answer. It's because of finances. But I'm just saying, if you listen to the fans more, your Survivor is going to get back to what it once was. I'm saying it's getting better year by year, but all they have to do is get back to basics. Bring these amazing challenges on. It doesn't even have to be super expensive. I remember when they had Applebee's on the show a few seasons back. That was such a breath of fresh air. I didn't even think about the fact that it was at the sanctuary. I just thought, oh my God, that is so cool that they have Applebee's.
I'll say logistically, this may be one of the reasons why. There's no road to the island that we're on. So it's all brought in by boat. So that may be a situation. Doing something I'm with y'all. You can bring up the sanctuary one more time and it's not a sanctuary. Do away with the sanctuary. Season 47, do away with the sanctuary. And
good things don't. It's not good things happen. It's not the sanctuary where good things happen. It's the sanctuary where people use the restroom.
Call it
it's the restroom break.
Covered place, like the covered place.
I mean, it's not a sanctuary. It's not if you're going to go there, I say, you know what? We got Thanksgiving. It should have been a Thanksgiving feast. It should have had everything for Thanksgiving, including the bird. And that way, you know, Kendall didn't have to eat the bird, she could eat the stuffing. But here's the thing. We're selling it like it's such a great thing, Jeff, and it's not. It is really a boring part of the episode where people go either to get sick or to eat some protein. Y'all good. But let's beef the sanctuary up. Now, trips and stuff like that may be logistically a little harder to do because there is no roads to where we're going. It's all boats, and that's how they get around in Fiji. So it'd be interesting how you be able to facilitate that. Also, when they move from different countries, there are other sponsors that want to be on Survivor, get their stuff out there, and that's why you get all this stuff. They actually been in Fiji, 6 years now? 6 or 7 years.
Oh yeah, too long.
Yeah, so they've been there for a long time. So it's easier to be somewhere and kind of get complacent on some of the things because you don't have to do them anymore. Where we see Australian Survivor, we see KFC coming in, we see a whole spread. You know, even South Africa, they had a whole room dedicated to sweets and stuff, and they were going in there. So,
Survivor UK, they just had an entire Indian takeout meal. That was the reward and stuff like that. I mean, it's like they still. There's another reward they gave on Survivor UK. It was like an entire bedroom set, like pillows, comfort items, like we just don't even really see that anymore. It's first episode. It's going to be your prize is your flint. And then the second prize is going to be fishing gear. I literally called it this season when he's like, all right, you guys, this is an episode 2. You guys want to know what you're playing for? And I said, fishing gear. And he goes, fishing gear.
I don't know if the edits were left out. How many people have you ever seen catch fish? In this, don't even go back to the rest of the episode because only 2 people in the last episodes. So in this season here, who has caught fish with this fishing gear?
Apparently, Emily caught fish.
I could see that. I could believe
apparently at the merge, I think the fish that was there. Apparently, Emily caught it.
That's it. First of all, the water's deep. It's deep and dangerous. I ain't going.
I can fish for the past 7 years.
Yeah, I can fish. But I can fish and swim. I ain't going out there.
I have to ask Tegwith as well. Tegwith, do you have any questions on TikTok today? I know we got on a huge Survivor tangent. We could talk Survivor for hours.
Yeah, so we had a couple. So let me see if I can find them. So
real quick, let me cue this up. So real quick, before we read the questions, and we are going on to our last segment of the episode. I guess it will be Will today because Tegwith has some questions. Will read the cues. So Tegwith, hit us with what you got, and we will give you our best analysis of it.
Okay, so first question I have is from user 870305. And they're asking, is Julie giving Austin his idol back?
Ooh.
Yeah, Julie's a nice person. Julie's a nice person, so yeah.
I think, yes. Short answer, I just don't see Julie having the capability to hold on to that idol and make the right choice. So the right choice is no, she would not give it back. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, I feel like she's going to give it back, but I feel like it'd be iconic if she kept it. Because it's hers. He transferred over to her.
She would be a villain, and Julie's just not a villain. She don't have it in her. Yeah. But it would be a villainous move if she did do it, which would be great. I would thoroughly enjoy it.
Okay, so we have another question from Quajek, I think is the name. Is Dee getting too overconfident?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Yes.
I'm going to say no.
What show are you looking at? Did you not look at the last episode?
I think Drew is overconfident. When you look at Drew, I think he thinks he's in a better situation than he actually is. Whereas Dee, I am a firm believer that you can be overconfident if you've earned the confidence and you can continue to dominate. And I think right now Dee is in a top spot. I understand the fact that she might be a little too on top and she's gonna be a major threat throughout the rest of the competition. But look, I'm gonna call a spade, and Dee is dominating the game right now. She is, if every castaway left in the game went straight to final tribal council and we picked a winner right now, Dee's winning $1 million. I think she's playing the best game. I know our Survivor Stockwatch crew, Jack and Will, have had her first, like in their winner rankings all season. She is playing a perfect game in my eyes almost. But I think it's lining her up to be the fifth place finisher this season.
Last week, everybody had Kelly as the winner last week. And everybody was like, Kelly's going to win the game of Survivor. And then she gets blindside. Epic blindside. So Survivor is unpredictable. I think Dee is a threat. I think the way she's playing the game, she's controlling her aspect of the game. We saw that because Kendra's gone. And the only player that wanted Kendra gone was Dee. So I'm not going to look at Drew right now, but I will give Drew credit for last week and the blindside because that was Drew's mastermind right there. And it went so the way they did it was such, they didn't give it a lot of edit. It almost went unnoticed. And then we get the epic blindside. And we were looking for an epic blindside tonight, but we got Kendra.
I totally agree with both those things. Are you guys ready for another question?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So AJK asks, do you think that it's surprising that Julie and Bruce have consistently kicked ass in comps despite being the oldest contestants? I'm going to start off and I'm going to say, honestly, I saw Julie come in and I thought that she was going to be a challenge beast. I didn't know about Bruce. I'm always worried about like strong dudes being like individual challenge beasts. But the fact that Bruce is killing it, I think is amazing. But Julie does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, but Julie's not 100 years old. I mean, what are we talking about here?
She's like 38.
I thought she was going to be someone who gets out first a lot. I think I'm more surprised that Austin isn't dominating challenges, especially with Caleb out. I thought there was definitely a world with how smart Austin is, and we saw that tonight with the puzzle that he had to solve, and how strong he is. I think he's strong. He looks strong. I'm surprised that Austin, who appears to be the full package, isn't dominating more. But I do have to give props to Julie and Bruce because I'm usually an old person hater on Survivor. I always think they're going to go. I think they're going to go out very early, and Julie and Bruce are out here making us youngins look terrible.
First of all, for all the watchers of Survivor, Julie and Bruce are still in their 40s. They're still in their 40s, so it's not like they're that much older. But we also noticed Dee ain't beating her, Emily not beating her, Drew, Austin, none of the players that's out there, because a part of the physical part is a part of the mental part, and they just got better mental fortitude in these games. Because look, you got Jake out there. Jake fell out the last one. Everybody fell out, so it's anybody's game. I don't care how old you are. Look at Gabler. Gabler was counted out by Will. He was like, no, he's done. He's done for it. He's the winner of that season. So me and Brad, look, I go hang out with Brad. Brad works way harder than I do. I will put Brad up against any 25-year-old to spend a week out there and live Brad life on the ranch. You will not come back the same. So go on out there and see what happened. And Brad, I think, is 52. So I think it's a matter of the mental part of it and the physicality. I like that Julie and Bruce are competing for the award, for the immunity challenge in these last two episodes. I hope they keep it up. I hope Bruce win it next time, because it proves to him to say, hey, look, I can get out there and I can play with the best of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few quick questions here on my side. Jay asks in the chat, do y'all think the winner of this season will have an under-the-radar edit, since the two winners of the odd number seasons in the new era, so 41, 43, have had under-the-radar edits? And then it's kind of a two-parter. Could Bruce still win given that he got some emotional content tonight? I'll answer the first part, the second part, sorry. I don't think Bruce is going to win. I don't see a world where Bruce makes it to the end and wins. You still have to get the jury votes, and I just don't think Bruce is popular enough with the jury to win the game. Doesn't matter if he wins his way to the finish or not in these challenges. The first part's interesting. I don't think it has anything to do with the odd seasons and getting under the radar edits. I guess if you were to pick a winner this season who has an under the radar edit, you would look at probably Julie. Kendra would have been one. Probably Julie is the last person that I would consider having an under the radar edit that is still left in the game. Maybe Jake as of late. I do feel like past couple episodes, Jake's kind of been left out of the edit besides that tribal council burst that he had. Tegerwith, I'll go to you for this question. What do we think under the...
I don't think the edit has anything to do with the number of the season. I do think there's a correlation to how people play the game versus the game that they had just recently seen. So I do think that there is a correlation there, because you are going to use whatever evidence that you have, or whatever you have near you, to get you to the end. And if you see somebody who's, for example, a Jam, you might be like, oh my gosh, Jam won, you got to get out of here, kind of a thing. So I do think you see a correlation there. I will say, I think with 90 minutes, there haven't been many under-edited people except for Sifu and J Maya and Brando, pardon me, and Brando. So except for those three, which is unfortunate, I don't think that there are many under-edited people. So for example, Erica, that she was wildly under-edited. In the first half of the game, I think if they had 90 minutes, they would have maybe edited her a little bit more, told us a little bit more of her story. Maybe not, but I think maybe they would have. But I feel like it has to do with like how much time they have to tell us. And I think I know a good amount about every single player out there. So I think you're right. Julie and Jake are maybe the only two people out there that I feel like I know the least about. I don't see a path for Jake to win. I would love it. I would love that. But I don't see a path for him to win. I also don't really see a path for Bruce to win, just because I feel like he's been edited to be the way that we hear so much from Katurah about how she doesn't like Bruce or doesn't like to work with Bruce. I think that they wouldn't want the audience to hear that about the winner as much as they have.
I mean, Drew had not to interrupt, but Drew had a confessional tonight as well, saying how, Bruce is kind of delusional and how he kind of gets in his own way. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but just kind of backing your claim.
Exactly. Like I could kind of see him like the Owen. Like Owen was my winner pick. I could see him like be the Owen of the season, where he goes to the end, maybe doesn't get any votes, maybe gets one vote. I don't think that he really could win. I think that'd be awesome. I really like Bruce myself. I think he's a great TV character, but long story long is my new phrase. I think that, there aren't many under-edited people because it's 90 minutes, and I could see a path for a lot of people to win. Now only a couple I feel like might not be able to win.
Yeah, I think with the 90 minutes, we're definitely getting more of a flashback. So I like the flashbacks because Bruce had a flashback about the foster care system this episode. I think Bruce can win. I think that, and here's the thing about it is, the jury can either be petty, which if you go back and look at Survivor, some of those wins were petty, or it could be one say, you know what, we're gonna vote for the person that played the three tops, the topics of the game: outwit, outplay, outlast. If you stick to the guidelines, you give it to the person that fits that criteria. If you get petty, they'd be like, well, nobody really liked Bruce the whole time. Wait a minute. Bruce also won immunity challenges. He's won back-to-back immunity challenge. He's got an idol. He's playing a game, and he's getting in. He's going through the minefields. So if Emily and Bruce are sitting next to each other, I'm not going to give Emily my vote, because I'm like, Emily, what did you really do to garner that vote? Where was your struggle at in that vote, where Bruce is not even liked right now? And most people are saying as soon as Bruce doesn't have an idol, I'm going to vote him out. Every time Bruce makes it past that, Bruce should earn a vote, because Bruce has earned it. Say, hey, I beat you out. I need to earn a vote. But again, if you got a petty jury, or they're going to play outwit, outplay, outlast. Because if I was sitting on our jury, I'd say, okay, who outplayed, who outwitted, who outlast? To me, Xander would have gotten my vote. But I'd have also seen Xander in my tribe, and I'd have seen Xander in the actual after the merger. So it's everybody's different. So when you sit on that jury side, it's all going to be who pissed off who is mad when they come to Ponderosa and they get in an argument because you voted them out. I think Kendra and Kelly are definitely going to bond. So,
I was going to say, I think Kelly's going to play a big role in, because her vote was very shocking. And I think that vote could go on to determine. I think it could be a talking point when we loop back around into the season when they're asking questions. I think it could be a talking point. But we have a couple minutes for a few more questions here. Tegwith, you got any more on your end?
Yeah,
it's pretty cool because I'm watching Tegwith on TikTok, and I'm watching her move here, and it's like it's not simultaneous. It's like she's moving here, she's moving over here.
All right, we have another question from Quajek from Quajek. I think it's interesting topic to talk about. They ask, is it just me, or has Emily been fading into the background?
Yes. We just had this conversation.
Her time. She's buying her time.
No,
she's going.
Emily on that boat on that first thing is what we all wanted to see. The villain. Who is she now? Vanilla? Because she's not a villain anymore. She's basically saying, whatever you say, I'll do it. And she's just going along.
I'm gonna check from Survivor Fact Checker, one of my favorite Instagram accounts, at the end of this, and I need to see. Usually the next day they post about how many confessionals there were. And I'd be very interested to see, because I do feel like we're hearing less and less from Emily, specifically in confessionals. Now, that could not be true. Like, I don't know how many confessionals she had last night or tonight. I don't really know what ended up being, but I do feel like we're not hearing her side of the story in the confessional sense as much. That doesn't really mean a ton. I feel like, maybe they don't want to make it too obvious if she does end up winning.
Look.
But I think I'm very interested to see what's the confessional count for tonight's episode.
Bring back the other Emily.
We love
it. We love
well,
it.
I was wondering what did you think? What do you think about her being like maybe under the radar, maybe under edited? Not under edited, but no.
I think the edit.
Why Randy's over there. Oh, he's back. Welcome back, Randy.
He's back.
No, I think they're definitely, the edit for Emily isn't there as much as it. Is it my Wi-Fi again? Am I back? My terrible Wi-Fi. I'm telling you, we need to improve the box. I'm telling you. Anyways, I think the edit isn't there for Emily anymore. As much as it was, we talk about that fast start that she had at the beginning of the season, and then she became like a big time winner pick. A lot of people were backing her to go on and win the season, and I still think she can. I personally think she's going to strike. I think they cooled it down a little bit because they want you to think that Austin's winning or Dee's winning. And they really want to. This is honestly what I think is going to happen. They want you to think that Reba is just going to pekong the rest of the people and that they are going to dominate. If they do this, this will be amazing storytelling by the producers and editors and everyone. I think they want you to think that Reba is going to dominate this season. And then Emily is going to be what breaks them up. And I think I said it earlier. I think that's going to be Emily's winning move. I said, if she go back and check earlier on this podcast, if she times this move perfectly to break them up, and then she takes, I don't know, we'll say she gets Drew to turn on Austin. Let's say she takes Drew and Julie to the final three. That's your final three. Emily, Drew, and Julie. I think Emily could win. I think Emily could have what based off relationships too. I don't think a lot of the people on the jury are pissed at Emily. She's played a under the radar game.
Kelly
post merge, not at Emily.
I don't think. Go back there. Kelly turned to Emily and looked dead at her.
She did, but notice when she looked at Austin, did you do this? And Austin said yes. She cussed immediately and looked super annoyed. She turned to Emily, was this you? And Emily said yes. And she didn't really have that big of a reaction. She was sad.
Here's the thing you're missing.
Hold on. And when she stood up, she went straight to hug Emily. She did not go straight to hug Austin. There's a difference. She's pissed at Austin. She's a little sad, disappointed with Emily, but it's not. That bridge can be repaired where I don't think there is a situation where Austin gets Kelly's vote at the final.
Here's the thing. There's a game. There's a game outside of the game. The next phase of the game is Ponderosa. So everybody that comes back adds a little more onto the story, which changes how you view people, because now you see what happens after you're gone and who gets voted out. So when Kendra comes, she was like, okay, who voted Joni? Emily. And she can be like, well, Emily turned on everybody. So for
Emily Emily has no blood on her.
But nobody know. But Kendra doesn't know she didn't vote. She didn't know who, because she was dumbfounded about the whole vote. Yeah, so she doesn't know who voted.
You just contradicted yourself. She's going to know when the next person goes to tribal council and they're talking about it. And Emily told person. Wait, no, Kendra does know Emily didn't vote because
she did.
In tribal council, Kendra was like, "Oh my god, I just now realized people could have lied about."
Well, yes.
And he said, that's enough at 4 votes. So in theory, I think that's when she knows, or at 3 votes, I think, whatever it was, I think she should know that there was an extra vote that she didn't, that she maybe wasn't aware of. So in theory, I think you're right, Abraham. I think that there is a way that they could push that onto Emily voting, or even, who was it? It was Emily and Katurah? No, it was Katurah, right?
No. Yeah, on Emily. Emily figured out who didn't vote.
Austin could push it onto Emily or Katurah But I actually had not thought of that. That's a very good point, Abraham.
Look here. You know what would be sweet? If they showed like the last 10 minutes of the episode is Ponderosa videos. The people that voted out, see what they're doing and talking about. Because they're still playing the game. They're still going in their minds, really like, what's happened? How did I get blindsided? How I could have played differently? But they also targeting who they will not give the money to. They are petty as hell when they get to Ponderosa.
Which is why Austin isn't going to get. That's honestly, I think Emily's going to get it. I think that's the edit they're painting right now.
I
might have
just
cursed her.
We'll see.
I might have just cursed her. Tegwood, do you have any other questions? We got time for one more if you have any others.
Let's see. I don't think I had any more that I had noticed. Yeah, that's pretty much all the questions from TikTok. Thanks, TikTok, for all the questions, everybody.
Definitely go check out Tegwith on TikTok at Survivor Simulation. You can also click the TikTok link on our website, survivornowpodcast.com. That'll take you to our profile as well. And I think the TikTok link on our YouTube as well will take you to Tegwith's profile. So, yeah, I'm not going to put our profile. I never post on our profile, but Tegwith, oh, my gosh, everything's going wrong today. All right. So we pretty much talked Survivor in general. We had Tegwith on the show today. We had to talk about the new era as a whole. We talked the new era, the pros and the cons of Survivor nowadays. We talked about the episode. Let's do a little before we wrap everything up in a nice little bow just in time for the holiday season. Let's talk about Thanksgiving. Is there anything you guys are extra thankful for this year heading into? I want to say again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone watching out there who celebrates, and happy Thanksgiving to the both of you. Anything special lined for this week or this weekend?
Abraham, go ahead.
I'm thankful because my family's all in
Abraham,
town.
go ahead.
Yeah, the family's all in town. We do we try to do something every day. Every day is a different thing. We had a fish fry at the house last night. Thankful that we have friends that come over, you kind of sit back, relax, and just kind of decompress and enjoy yourself and enjoy being around people and people that you care about. It's that time of year. Be mindful of people that they need somewhere to be and invite somebody over and say, hey, just come hang out. You don't have to bring anything. Just come hang out and enjoy and be a part of the family. So it's always some mystical person that shows up on Thanksgiving to the house that was brought with somebody else. We make them feel at home, enjoy this time. So it's family time. Thankful for you guys. I mean, we get a chance to be able to do stuff that we love to do and hang out and talk about this show and whatnot. So it's a great time of year. Next, probably after Thanksgiving, I'll put up some lights and stuff like that. So I'm thankful that I'm here to be able to do all that fun stuff. So that's me.
I love it. I have to say, again, also very thankful for my family. A lot of my family are in town in New York or Connecticut or New Jersey, close enough to where we can, see them, which is really, really awesome. And then, I'm super thankful for this little community that we've created via TikTok, via YouTube, via all of that. I have had some really amazing opportunities this year that I never thought that I would get. And the fact that, I get to, nerd out about this TV show that we all love. And I get to do fun things because of it. It's absolutely bonkers to me. And just really, really cool. So, thankful for all of us, thankful for Survivor, thankful for Jeff Probst, but most of all, as always, thankful for family and being able to spend time with them. What about you, Randy?
That is absolutely, I'm going to go a super cheesy route. I am, super thankful for my family. Thankful for my friends. I got a Friendsgiving that we're doing next week. Super excited for that. So it's a little late. We're doing it after the holiday season. I'm super thankful for you guys, the both of you, the team that we have at Survivor now. We just try to continue to improve every day. And I love that you guys have stuck through this, through the times that we have low views, and, we're just kind of talking to ourselves at times and stuff like that. It's about the community. I'm talking not anymore, but back then.
I can talk to myself literally all day long.
Yeah.
We still was here.
No, that's sticking it out. And this was never for any of us about, making like money off the show or anything like that. It's always been about growing a community that people can come to and feel safe and talk about the best show on television. And that's why we love fan interaction. We love answering your questions. And honestly, I'll say it for all of us. I said I was going to go the cheesy route, but we're thankful for you guys for tuning in and spending all the hours you've spent with us. Yes, we would still do this even if no one was watching, but it does make it more enjoyable when you guys are interacting with us, and loved meeting you. I remember when I went to New York last year for the finale party and I had someone come up and be like, "Oh my gosh, Randy, we listen to the show all the time." That made my night. I kind of looked around. I was like, "Are you talking to me?" Like that just made my night. And I'm thankful for everyone who supports us while we do this. And obviously the normal stuff, thankful for family and friends, and thankful for another season of coverage. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I do have one more thing to get out of the way.
Hey, tell it. Randy sounds like he's having his speech ready for when he does his own show and he accepts his award. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like.
I've been preparing.
Why don't you and Ted write a show? Why don't you write a show together?
Don't tempt us. I will say, Russell Muscle TV messaged me about Idle Plays and said there actually is a Black Friday sale. I totally forgot Black Friday was a thing. So you can go onto the website right now, use the code Black Friday 30 to get 30% off of a puzzle.
Uh-oh.
So if you've been wanting a puzzle, go check it out now and get that. We got a lot of good stuff planned for you guys. We've got a busy weekend. Check out Survivor Social on Saturday, Survivor Stock Watch on Friday. We got something for you on Sunday. Don't forget, tomorrow morning on Thanksgiving, we will be covering Survivor UK, the 2 episodes that took place this weekend. Survivor Australia is coming up. If you enjoyed the episode, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your Survivor-loving friends. Make sure to check out our website, SurvivorNowPodcast.com. I can say a couple exciting news. In December, we will have the second round of this. I know there's already Survivor Hall of Fames out there. We will have the second round of the Survivor Now Hall of Fame, which is basically players that we believe, international players, U.S. players who we believe belong in the Survivor Hall of Fame. We put 5 people in there last time. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There was Sandra, Suri, Richard Hatch, Boston Rob, and Tony Vlachos were the 5 that we put in the Survivor Hall of Fame. So keep on the lookout. Make sure to subscribe to us on Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast. That's where one day we will post one of those like question things. We'll say, let us know who you think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And if you put a name out there, they will be in the running, and then we will have a vote for who belongs in the Hall of Fame. So that will be coming up very shortly, just in time for the holiday season. And then the only other thing is, Abraham, can we say where we will be at for the finale? Are we allowed to yet or no?
No.
Okay,
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know you're going to be. I know you can tell them where it's at, what state it's in.
I know what state it's in,
but no, you can't tell them where it's at. No.
Well, I wasn't going to say that part.
Did you know where it's at?
Yes, I know. They've already announced where it's going to be at.
Oh, go ahead, knock yourself out, man. I was like, look, do you know? There's some other information I'll be looking on my phone. I'll be forgetting.
I don't know. I'm not sharing the deep information, but Bryce and Wynn Presents are having the finale party in Los Angeles this year. And Abraham and myself will be in attendance. So looking forward to meeting all of you if you go to the finale party. So yeah, very excited. And then if they're ever in New York, I will say Tegwith will be there in New York. The last thing I have to say is there's some other projects that we are working on. Definitely check those out. Abraham's got a podcast he's doing. Old School Finance. Abraham, do you have any episodes coming out? We're putting Tegwith to sleep now. We got to hurry.
Yeah, I'm on Thanksgiving hiatus for the moment. I won't start filming again until after Thanksgiving. But thanks to Randy Bruce, I am moving right along with my episode on StreamYard. I love StreamYard. I can edit, I can do everything.
So easy to use. I'll say a little self-promotion here. I have a song releasing on Friday, November 24th. It is my first ever Christmas song. It's called Christmas Without You. It's a sad song. It's got that like sad piano in the background. So you can pre-save the song now. Go to my Instagram at I'm Randy Bruce or my TikTok, RZ Hollywood. You can pre-save the song. So I really appreciate it if you guys go and check that out. Tegwith, anything? We got to end with you. You were our guest today. Anything new going on?
I mean, always just as always, check out my TikTok, check out my Instagram. I post way too much, more on my TikTok than on my Instagram. But I'm just, putting out Survivor content daily. If anybody out there, just so you know, I put spoiler warnings until Sunday. So you're welcome. Usually it's 24 hours. I'm doing this for you all.
You're too nice. You're too nice.
I am too nice.
Now that you're a celebrity, you can't be that nice anymore.
It was a lot of people at the premiere. That premiere.
All I do. All I do is just my little TikTok, Survivor TikTok, and my Instagram. So check me out there at Tegwith.
How many people were at the screening that you went to with Jeff?
It was like 75 people ish, give or take. It was actually really, really cool. It was in the Paramount building in Times Square, which I've walked past 1,000 times, give or take. And so being able to go in was really exciting. And we got food and drinks, and Jeff was there. We got the merge buff, which was awesome. The craziest thing was that they had, this is a little tangent, but they gave us all merch buffs, and it was really cool. It was on the things that they the little trays that they give out on Survivor when they're passing out buffs, which was really, really cool. And so they passed it around and they said, okay, so there are 8 buffs that have a little sheet, a little piece of paper and you're competing in a challenge. And it was just rock, paper, scissors, but the winner of the challenge is getting flown out to LA for the finale. I was unfortunately not the winner, nor was I selected. But it was a very, very cool thing that happened, and it was so much fun to watch. And we got to see Jeff in real life say, "Want to know what you're playing for," which was a bucket list moment. It was really cool.
I'll say this, and this is how I'll end the show here tonight. If I was to bet on who out of the Survivor Now crew, not counting Abraham because he's been on the show, would be the first one to get on the show, I'm going to bet Tegwith. I already think CBS has her on the list of we're going to be hitting her up soon. And then 2, I really, really, really am hoping that Jeff Probst is in LA for the finale event. Because I said if he is, I'm going to say Jeff, less advantages, but we know if I see him. Hi Jeff.
Look, I like to give a shout out to Bryce and Wynn because they really put together a great events. We get an opportunity to be at the events, but the biggest thing I like is the fact you get a chance to bring the cast back together. Mm-hmm. You bring the cast back together, and you get them an opportunity to. There's a healing goes on with this after the show. And it's nice to be able to see each other after the show and be in a good environment and hang out. This was a great cast to kick off the season, and they've not disappointed in how the season has been going on and progressing on and some of the great things we get a chance to watch. So it's great that Bryce and Wynn the Toronto, if you ever get a chance to go up to Toronto, they do the breast cancer tattooing up there, which is great. They do the panel up there, which is great. It's taking the place of the CBS finale in a certain way, but I love the fact that we get a chance to come back together and support the new cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a few comments to lead us out here. I'm just thankful that Survivor is still on. Amen to that. And then Jay, thanks guys. Appreciate this community, and we appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us.